How to deal with betrayal.
I'm going to say therapy sucks, but there's some great tools. Therapy sucks.
There is a different kind of abuse, domestic violence, that can be a little bit more challenging to work with.
I'm Cass.
And I'm Kathryn.
If you don't burn every bridge or every boat, you will fail. It's very near and dear to my heart. You're going to hear why. Fuck your family. And by the way, when I say family, I mean your blood. I mean your adoptive. I mean your friends.
We're MorrowMarriage.
Let's flip divorce statistics with the new marriage.
All right, positive, negative, and
Dun, 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 dun.
neutral.
Go ahead.
I would like to right now coin the term narc out.
Welcome to the Moral Marriage Podcast, guys, where we give it to you real, raw, anointed, and uncensored. I did that backwards.
You did, but that's okay.
Guys, today, this is a great week for questions, guys. I guess you just have to stop recording for a couple of weeks, move to Texas, and people want to send the questions in.
Oh, yeah.
But how to deal with betrayal. And she also referenced porn, okay? And we've talked about this before. So I just want, first thing before we get into this, I want you to understand that betrayal comes in a lot more forms than emotionally you connecting with your partner, well, not your partner, sorry, obviously, with someone else, okay? Looking for validation, for approval. More than just
having an affair.
A physical cheating affair, okay? Like that validation and approval from the opposite gender, from anybody, I shouldn't say opposite gender, from anybody, is definitely considered betrayal, guys.
Especially with the opposite gender. So I just want to jump in here for a quick second. If I have a female friend and I'm getting validation from her, it shouldn't necessarily be a betrayal. It depends, like what are you talking about? Is it tarnishing your relationship with your spouse? Are you speaking poorly of your relationship with your spouse or that person's spouse? That is betrayal. But sometimes women and men, often you need a female confidant and men need a male confidant. So we want to be really clear about that. When it's cross-gender, if I was talking about my husband or sharing intimate details of my life with a man, then that definitely could be considered betrayal.
100%. Now, this is really important what we're talking about here, because we start to, actually I should really quickly say this. With the women with women, men with men, that's why we have groups and communities and we do that. But here's, when you're doing that, guys, pick the right women for women, men for men.
Gosh,
okay?
yes.
You know, I always, almost every DM when I'm inviting somebody to my program, by the way, I'm giving the marriage reset away for free. It's a $5,000 course. That's the new business model. Okay.
Why Pick a Fence Project 2 as of today? As of
today? Perfect. So guys, DM us, Cass Foster Morrow on Instagram and Kathryn Morrow online on Instagram. And so men with me, women with Kathryn, okay? We're doing that because the book's coming out, because we need to reach more people, because we know that women with women, men with men, the support creates the rapid success as well. The success stories are bigger and more grand.
You can be way more candid if you're a woman or a man, but if you're a woman in a group full of women, you can be candid in a way that you will not be if your husband is in the room. You will not speak openly with your husband there. Same with husbands.
100%. And here's the thing, because you're all using the tools from the White Picket Fence or from the marriage reset. And so now you're using like-minded people. So that whole thing, you're some of the 5 people that you have in your life now becomes, you're the sum of hundreds of people. Okay. So jump in, DM us on Instagram. Now go back to it. Porn. So many people want to justify because their needs aren't being met, let's say, for example, okay? Especially men, and you're going to touch yourself, you're going to use porn and all this stuff. Man, I just had this great conversation with one of my guys this morning where it's like the power in jerking off as a man, just not. The power you get in the control you get is something, okay? But we can break into that another episode, because all of these things are betrayal. The way you're looking at other people, this validation we were talking about, porn, the actual emotional or physical affair, the bashing, verbal bashing of your partner to even your children, guys. How many of you are doing that? Slap yourself across the face.
Right now, slap yourself across the face. Can I interject?
Yes.
We have the same idea in theory on, I don't even know if you call it a theory, but even looking, so he mentioned even looking around. If you look at someone else, first of all, you can't control what you feel, but you can control what your eyes do. And so I've gotten torn apart online about this. If I see a man that I think is attractive, and there's even any chance that I'm going to feel anything, avert the eyes and avert your thoughts.
It's the thoughts that are the problem, where you let your mind run. I'll use men as animals as an example, and I'll use myself. Yesterday, Kathryn was at the vet with our dog. I pulled in after a beard trim. I pulled into the parking stall, waiting for Kathryn and Finn. And a pretty woman walked out of her car. I don't even know what store she went into because I just turn away. I'm not going to allow my mind to look at that, to elevator that, to think about anything. And that's where we get torn apart. No, do your due diligence, okay? Now, the episode isn't on.
First of all, thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
But this is a message for all of you. When that happens to you, it is your responsibility to not to think what society tells you, which is it's okay to look. No, it's not okay to look, because then what you're doing is you're creating lust. You're having lustful thoughts, and your mind starts to go into betrayal categories. If you avert, so it's natural. So I just want to stay on this for a second, because I think it's really important, because so many people, I remember I had a group full of people when we first got married, and they all loved to look. And a couple of times I was guilty of making comments that supported what they were doing, but I just didn't believe it. I like to have tunnel vision. This is something that I feel like I was born with tunnel vision.
We talked about it on a recent episode.
We did, yeah. And so I just want to hit home for you guys that it's your responsibility. If you see someone that you find attractive and that you feel like you might have thoughts of lust, thoughts that could be considered betrayal if it was acted out in real life, it means that those thoughts are a betrayal. It's your responsibility to turn your eyes, not to elevator. And if you do elevator because it's human nature, then try to erase it. You can't, but try to erase it and try to remind yourself that this isn't what you're striving for, because otherwise you wouldn't be in a marriage. And your marriage might suck right now. It doesn't justify looking, daydreaming,
but hold on,
fantasizing.
It's actually worse than all that, because see, that's where you guys start validating yourselves. When you're scrolling on your phone, laughing, and your partner's trying to talk to you, you're betraying them. Okay. Mm-hmm. When your partner says good morning and you just sort of say, but justify it because I have bad moods, I'm grumpy in the morning. Get off your high fucking horse. Mm-hmm. You're betraying the relationship, your marriage, your partner with all this stuff. You guys got to start thinking differently if you want different things. Now, problem is you're all in this position because of all these different things. And man, we could go on. Okay. How do you deal with it? Well, the first thing is there's two sides to this. There's your side and there's your partner's side. Okay. You can only control your side. So I'll use this as a woman. Obviously, your husband's using porn. And I think if I recall correctly, and I apologize if I got this wrong, but I think there was actually a physical affair at one point as well. Okay. Either way, okay, you've got to be able to be the one. You can only control you. So you've got to deal with it. So the first thing is, we talked about fear in the last episode, right? You can't make decisions based on fear. That's insecurity. When the monster grips you, you're doomed. You're going to perpetuate. Okay. So the more you try to belittle your spouse and talk about why they shouldn't use porn, give the rules of marriage, all these things, you're actually going to push them away. You're right. They're going to, what?
They're already separated from you in their mind, in their spirit, in their physical body because of what they're doing. So you nag them and you judge them, which isn't your place. Sometimes a gentle correction is in order and, holding people accountable, but it's not your place to come in with heavy correction. You're not his mother.
No, that's right. So the very first step that you have to take is learning to make controlled decisions, okay, and leading decisions. Because obviously, if your partner is the one using porn, well, then by belittling them, what are they going to do? Kathryn said she struggles with defensiveness. I do too. You do too. It's a world thing, okay? Because inherently, we're selfish and want to protect our own needs, okay? That's a people thing, okay? So the very first thing you could do is start to think differently. If I'm lecturing my partner on the rules, well, I'm just pushing them away. They're probably
invoking defensiveness.
Yeah, because their defensiveness is now going to say, well, you don't have enough sex with me, so I have to watch porn. Or you don't want to have anal sex, so I like to at least watch it and imagine it. Okay? What are you doing? You're getting your spouse to be defensive, which is not solving the problem, so you inherently can't deal with the issue.
And when defensiveness creeps in, your mouth is open, you're defending yourself, and your ears are now closed. So if you're invoking defensiveness in your partner, so if you judge your partner, if you're doing something that's not, somehow constructive and empathetic and validating and curious, going in with curiosity, and it invokes defensiveness, whoever starts to get defensive, they start defending themselves verbally and their ears closed. So whatever point you were trying to make is now moot because they're not hearing it. Now they're defending their own piece of their own equation, and they don't care. Not only do they not care about how you feel, they're not even hearing
That's right.
what you're saying. And if they are hearing the words, they're not understanding the words. So when defensiveness comes in, remember that mouth open, ears closed.
That's beautiful. And so if you can understand that, the next step is to start leading by good decisions, strong decisions, and leading by example. Okay. So you're clearly not watching porn, obviously. You clearly put your phone down at night if they're struggling with putting their phone away. You clearly are more involved in the life that you actually want.
What he's saying here is whatever you are wanting your partner to change, you better be doing it.
And here's the kicker. What you'll often do because you don't get what you want and you're doing the example is you'll go just create a sabotaging mechanism for something else. So maybe you decide, well, fuck it, I'm going to have wine every day, you know, and you just sit there and cope with your booze. Or maybe you decide to go play video games because she doesn't want to talk to you, right? And now all of a sudden, what are you doing? You're not creating the life that you want.
You're escaping.
You're escaping. That's right. That's why I call that a safe reaction. S stands for sabotaging, okay? You can get it all in Disrupting Divorce or joining the Marriage Reset for free. But anyways, so once you're now providing a good example, how do you deal? Well, you're probably going to need a woman finding a woman's group, men finding a men's group, so that you can start to release a few things here. One, shame and guilt for some of the things that you've done wrong that have perpetuated the life that you don't like with your partner. That's the only thing you can control.
On both sides. That's not necessarily the person watching porn. It's also the naggy person that's judging the person watching porn or whatever it is.
And, you know, we talk about this a lot. I say men should expect less sex. Women should say, or Kathryn says, women should expect more. Okay. Meaning
Should put out more.
Put out more. Yeah. So
Expect less, put out more, find a healthy compromise.
that's right. Okay. So that would be something that a woman would learn in their program that could help a man release the porn. On the flip side,
Whoa, wait. No, we have to stop on that. The sex piece. So porn specifically is an addiction and it's a problem. I think that it's a misunderstanding that sex in the relationship will help with the porn addiction. So he's not wrong. This is something that could help in the healing process, but we have to be very careful.
Completely disagree, because I've worked with thousands of men, and many men, it's not an addiction. Many men, it's not. I think that the world is starting to say it's an addiction. And so now we're rolling with that, and that's beneficial and good. But if I'm being real, many men have no trouble just dropping it. Many men need a program, need something like mine to help them. So there's
and then
there's
they need a
both.
woman. Probably it's not the sex, the putting out more that's helping them take away the porn. It's the validating. It's the feel. It's probably the connectedness.
That's where I was going. So you would say,
I love when we get into this live on camera.
yeah. So you
guys
would
get to
say
see.
women should put out more, but what a man actually needs is the levels of intimacy to climb in all ways, starting from the bottom. What is the energy like when you walk in the home? Are you afraid? Because now we're not making those sound decisions and leading because I'm afraid of another fight, or the fact that I can't hug, or that we're not going to have sex again, or whatever all these things are. So how do you deal with it? It's always going back to you. You have to take care of what you can take care of. Now go back to the women in women's program, men in men's program. When you start releasing some of the shame and the guilt, one of the quotes from one of my mentors in the book was something along the lines of, when I was trying to release my wife for the things that she was doing wrong. So let's say you're releasing your partner for this porn, is the example today. Okay. I realized that my past actions that I felt shame and guilt for were creating emotions in him that were making his wife want more of everything else, the phone, the divorce, the whatever. And so he was able to release his wife because he released his own shame and guilt, understanding he just didn't know what he didn't know. He had to grow.
Absolutely.
He had to learn, which now allowed him to be in an incredible position with his wife. I mean, they're going to film a podcast when they come here for the book release. Like, they're going to, husband and wife, another great, beautiful story. And they're going to do that with us live, guys. So it's just super, super exciting when you understand, guys, almost everything that you have to deal with is not the betrayal. It's the underlying issues. It's all the things that led up to. It's like whether your partner's having an affair, or they're watching porn, or you're getting served divorce papers. You can look at it all. You got kicked in the nuts by your wife. It's all betrayal, because that's not what a partnership, any of those things are not part of a marriage, right? So go to the underlying issues, and you'll find that you'll actually start to quote unquote deal with whatever you're releasing them from.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah. So just this last thing. So he talked about, let's just say women are going to their phones because they're not getting what they need in the marriage, or they have all these other coping mechanisms, and you're going to feel some guilt or shame, which we want you to drop. However, if your wife is moving towards like wanting more chickens or goats, then I want you to really invoke that feeling of shame and buy her, he's laughing, but buy her more chickens, buy her more goats. I always see these memes that say, I'm not a marriage expert, but have you tried buying farm animals? I am a marriage expert. And when you buy farm animals, I mean, something special happens in my
actually like the
in my heart.
Chickens came with the home, and they're like, we got pictures where they're on your
They
shoulder.
jumped on my
You
shoulder.
jumped on the couch, like they come over and say hi. Like they're the most. It's actually quite liberating.
And it's really sexy to have my husband being like this.
Gotta go.
So buy more farm animals and feel shame if you say no.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay,
Love you
guys. See you next time.
Bye.